This is an assembly code walkthrough. So these are the questions, and this is the completed trace table. These are the answers here. I'm going to go walk through all the instructions. So we start at the top and we carry out this instruction here. LDD 365 and LDD is direct addressing. Load the contents of the location given into the accumulator. So we come over here and we look at the address given 365 and we load the contents into the accumulator. So we take this and I come over here. I'm going to load that into the accumulator. So I now have one in the accumulator. And then I'm going to compare CMP 366. So I'm going to compare the contents of the accumulator with the value in 366. And this instruction here, JPE as following and compare, jump to the address if it's true. JPN is jump to the address if it's false. So we're doing JPE. So JPE, if it's true, I'm going to jump to address 209, which is end, but it's not true because the value here is 1 and the value here is 3. Therefore, I'm not going to end. Instead, I'm going to go to the next instruction, which is increment the value in the accumulator, INC, and in the accumulator, and we see increment, add 1 to the contents of the register, either the accumulator or the IX register. So we're going to add 1 to the contents here, and this is how we get the value 2. 1 plus 1 is 2, and we add it to the accumulator here. Now I'm going to come down here. I'm going to store the contents of the accumulator in memory location 365, and there's memory location 365. So I'm going to copy this over here to 365. So 365 is now 2. It's no longer 1. It is now 2. Then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to move IX. If I check over here, move IX is move the contents of the accumulator to the given IX register. So I come down over here, and we only have one IX register, and the contents of the accumulator is 2, and therefore I move the contents of the accumulator to the given IX register, and that's 2 over here. Now I'm going to move on to the next instruction, LDX 365. LDX, if we look over here, index addressing. From the address, I add the contents of the index register and I copy the contents to the calculated address to the accumulator. So I come back over here and I look at 365, memory location 365, and I add the contents of the accumulator, which is 2, or the IX register, which is 2. So 365, that gives me 367, and then I copy this value 65 and I copy it over here. 365 gets copied from here over to here. And now I'm going to output this value. So 365 is character A. So I output the character A over here. Then I jump to 200, and that takes me back here. So now I do this again. I load the contents of 365 into the accumulator. So I'm going to do that now. And this time it's 2, so I load 2 into here. I come over here, I compare it with the contents of 366. 2 is not equal to 3, and therefore I do not jump to 209, which would be end, because it is not equal, and I increment the accumulator, and I do that down here. So this becomes 3. 2 plus 1 becomes 3. And then I store that at 365. So that means I copy this value to 365. So 3 goes to 365. And I've done that. Now I move to the IX. So I copy this value over here to this register. I copy 3 in here. It was 2, but now it's going to be 3. And then I load the value from 365, load X, the value from 365 plus the value 3. So now I get the address 368. So I load the value 368 into the accumulator, which is 66. So 66 goes over here, or I could say I got it from here. So from that memory address, I've loaded 66. And then I come over here to this instruction and I output it. And 66, we see here, is B. And therefore I output B. And then I come to the next instruction which is jump to 200. So I'll go back to the beginning and I do it again. So now I load the contents of 365. Here's 365. And currently the contents are 3. So I load that into the accumulator. And then I come down here and I compare it with the contents of 366. So we have 3. And in 366 we have 3. And then I come over here and I jump, if they're the same, to 209. Well, 3 is equal to 3. So therefore that's true. So I jump to instruction 209. And that's end. And I end. And this is how each one of these elements in this trace table was calculated.